Hey guys, welcome to Rosie's Dessert Spot. Today we'll be making this fun Halloween cake with an ombre background and a Halloween landscape silhouette. You'll need your extra tall cake. Mine's already been stacked and crumb coated. Here I'm applying that final layer of frosting. For the buttercream, I've used just American buttercream that I've added vegetable shortening to. And I'll leave the recipe in the eye icon and the description below for you. I've gone with a purple, blue, turquoise and yellow frosting and just overlapping those slightly as I apply them onto the cake. Take your frosting scraper, go around to smooth it out and help to blend those colors together. The more times you go around your cake, the more blended those colors will become. You can fill in any spaces as you go to make sure it's all nice and flush. And then when you're happy with the finish, bring the lip of frosting towards the middle of the cake. From here, I recommend refrigerating your cake for at least 20 minutes if you can. That way the frosting becomes nice and solid and we can handle it with our hands later with the stencil. To create the moon stencil, take a nice large circular cookie cutter, a X-Acto knife or a Stanley knife, and just gently cutting around that circle with baking paper underneath. I recommend a cutting board if you can, that way it's just a cleaner cut all the way around. And then apply it to your now firm cake with 2 pins on either side. Take some white buttercream and then starting on the stencil, so starting outside the circle, I'm pushing the buttercream towards the middle of our circle. By starting on the baking paper, you're less likely to get any of that buttercream bleeding underneath it and you'll get a nice crisp round shape. Go around to flatten it out with your spatula. You could also use a frosting scraper. And when you're happy with the finish, remove the pins gently and then peel off that baking paper to reveal your stenciled moon. From here, I've taken black buttercream with the piping bag and just creating a jagged shape all around the bottom. Not too tall though, I do want some of that yellow to still peek through. I don't want to cover it completely. And when you're happy with the outline, fill in the middle. I didn't go too heavy with the piping bag because I knew that as I smoothed it out with the spatula, it would expand the buttercream and it'll meet up naturally with that line that we drew. Add just a little bit of pressure to get it there and then travel around without stopping to smooth it out. To the left or the right of the cake, you can create a little mountain, and that's where your tree will stand. Make sure that the trunk is nice and jagged to keep with the theme. I think it's also a little bit more spooky when you have a really, I guess, a weird looking tree. So don't make it too perfect. And then start piping your branches. I started with really thick and chunky ones leading from the main body of the tree trunk and just connecting 2 or 3 to that main central one. You could use a number 10 piping tip for this if you like, make it nice and chunky, and then take a smaller piping tip to create those other little branches coming off the main ones. Or you could do what I did here and just grab a second piping bag and cut out a much smaller section at the end so that not as much buttercream can jump out. And that just creates those thinner branches. My piping bag was pretty much touching the cake as I piped it out, and just give your hands a little bit of a shake to create those jagged looking branches. This is going to leave your branches looking really jagged and kind of 3D and raised. If you wanted them to be flat like the rest of the silhouette, you can let this set in the fridge for a good 20 minutes and then take a paper towel, gently press your finger and rub on the paper towel onto these branches and it'll flatten them out. I really like the way they looked, all gangly and misshaped, so I just left it as is. And then at the very bottom you can create a dome, nice tall dome, to kind of look like a tombstone. Add a little cross on the top and your Halloween themed cake is complete. You can create this on a shorter cake as well and maybe just don't make the tree as tall. Also, if you want To make it even easier, cut out a fondant circle and stick it to your cake rather than using the mask technique here. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this one and give it a go, and we'll catch you in the next one.